All right, if you've ever taught a language, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have this great lesson, you teach a bunch of new words, the students are nodding along, and then a week later, poof, gone. It is so frustrating. But what if I told you the problem isn't them, and it's not you either? It's the method. So let's get into it.
This just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? That feeling of pouring your heart and soul into a lesson only for it to vanish into thin air. It's tough on you, and believe me, it's demoralizing for your students too. But here's the good news, we're gonna fix it.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with a concept I call the leaky vocabulary bucket to really understand the problem. Then we'll talk about why words are just everything. After that, the main event, a 6-step solution you can actually use. And we'll wrap up with some tips, tech, and a look at where this all leads to confident students.
Okay, part 1, the leaky vocabulary bucket. This idea perfectly captures that endless, frustrating cycle of teaching a word one day and it being gone the next. So picture this, your student's memory is like a bucket, and all lesson you're just pouring in these awesome new words. The problem? The bucket's got holes in it, a lot of them. So by the time you see them next, most of that great vocabulary has just leaked out. And look, the key thing to get here is that this isn't about students being lazy. It's just how our brains are wired. If we don't have the right process, those leaks are going to happen, period.
So to plug those leaks, we've got to rethink what we're even doing. Teaching vocabulary isn't just a simple exchange, here's a word, here's the meaning. No, it's a journey. It's about guiding that student from the first time they even notice a word, all the way to it becoming a permanent, ready-to-use tool in their language toolbox. And again, let me just say, if you're feeling this, it is not your fault. The system is often designed to fail. You know how it is. A word pops up in Unit 3 and then just disappears forever. Or the course book gives you a boring list with zero plan to bring those words back. And don't get me started on the pressure to just get through the book, which means we overload our students way beyond what anyone could possibly remember.
Now, fixing this leaky bucket, it's not just a nice to have. It's everything. Let's really dig into why getting vocabulary right is probably the single most important thing we can do for our students. Just think about this for a second. If a student's grammar is a little shaky, they can usually still get their point across, right? We understand what they mean. But a student with no words, they're just silent. They are completely stuck. That tells you everything you need to know. Words are the absolute bricks and mortar of communication. And when we get this right, the change is just incredible to watch. Suddenly, they're not just saying a meal was good, they're saying it was delicious or exquisite. They start painting pictures with their words, not just sketching in black and white. And that confidence, it just snowballs. They get braver, they talk more, and their fluency just takes off. Okay, so we know the problem, we know why it's so important to fix it. Now for the good stuff, the solution. This is a super practical 6-step framework designed to finally stop that bucket from leaking.
And here it is, the whole journey on one slide. We start by choosing fewer but better words. Then we present them in a rich context, clarify all the details, give students some safe, controlled practice, and then let them get creative with some freer practice. And the final step, the one that changes everything, is number 6, recycling and retrieval. Let's zoom in on a couple of the most important parts. Step 2 is a total game changer. Please, whatever you do, do not start with a dry dictionary definition. Our brains don't remember lists, they remember stories. So when you introduce a new word inside a personal story or with a funny picture or in a little piece of dialogue, you're giving the brain these little mental hooks to hang the new word on. It becomes meaningful right from the start. And here's how we check if they really get it, without just asking, do you understand? For a word like affordable, you ask simple questions. Can a rich person eat at an affordable restaurant? Yep. Is a private jet affordable for you? Probably not. See? It forces them to actually wrestle with the meaning instead of just grabbing a lazy translation. And this is the magic step. Step 6, recycling. This is how we actually patch the holes in that leaky bucket. It means you have to plan to bring those words back. A quick game on day 2. Maybe you slip it into a story on day 4, a little quiz on day 7. It's called spaced repetition. You've probably heard of it for apps, but it is an absolute powerhouse in the classroom for locking words into long-term memory. So that 6-step framework is your blueprint. But I know what you're thinking. How do I fit this all in? Well, let's look at a few quick tips and some cool tech that can make this way easier to do. Really, it all boils down into a few simple ideas. First, less is more. I promise you, 5 words taught really well are infinitely better than 20 words they'll forget by tomorrow. Make it personal. Connect the words to their lives, their hobbies, their friends, and then plan that recycling. Schedule it in. Use games, use humor, because our brains remember things that make us feel something. And hey, don't be afraid to use your new best friend, AI. These tools are incredible time savers. You can get word lists, create a quiz, or get a bunch of natural example sentences in literally seconds. It can even act as a practice partner for students. The tech does the grunt work, which frees you up to do what you do best: teach. So let's pull this all together. When you make this shift, when you move away from that old model of cramming and forgetting, the result is so much more than just better test scores. It's about building real, lasting confidence. This is the path. This is the journey we take our students on. From that first little spark of noticing a word, to really getting it, to practicing it, using it, and finally, owning it. It's clear, it's simple, and it just works. And this, right here, is the payoff. It's not about the gradebook. It's that moment in a conversation when a student pulls out a word you taught them 3 weeks ago. It's seeing that light bulb go on when they realize they have the exact right word for the exact right moment. That is real confidence. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. We're all under so much pressure to cover more material, to go faster. But what if the real secret to deep learning wasn't about adding more stuff? What if it was about having the courage to teach less, but to teach it so much better? Thanks for joining me.